Hi, and welcome to the Reef Podcast. I'm your host, LuisIpa. On today's episode, we actually interviewed the good old NickyDLuffy. NickyDLuffy is actually the official editor of the Reef Podcast and is a British streamer from the state of California. He's been doing Twitch streaming for 2.5 years. Sit down, relax, and enjoy this brand new episode that we have this week. On February 19th of 2023, we at the Reef Podcast are going to be interviewing the co-singers Wildfire. Wildfire is actually a group that actually sing country rock music. Tune into that episode. As always, today's episode was streamed live on Twitch. If you couldn't make it to the live stream of the podcast, you can always listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and now also on iHeartRadio. Welcome all to the Reef Podcast. I am LuisIpa, joined by Mr. Nicky D. Hello, sir.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Man, we are back with another episode after the 3-year anniversary. How cool was that anniversary, man?
Oh, it was awesome, man. If you guys didn't see it, you definitely check it out. It was something not to be missed for sure.
Absolutely. As you can see, Nicky D is here right next to me. And normally you see him behind the scenes working on the amazing edits. But today we're interviewing the one and only Nicky D.
Hey, and I greatly am humbled and appreciate to be a guest here on the Reef Podcast.
Dude, I mean, it was going to happen at one point. I mean, who knows when it's going to happen, but hey, it happened today.
Yeah.
So absolutely. You want to do a little introduction about yourself?
Sure. So my name is NickyDLuffy. A lot of people call me either Nicky D or just Nicky is fine as well. And I have been streaming on Twitch for the past 2 years. Oh, actually almost 2.5 years. 2.5 years now. And now I've been kind of dabbling more into video editing and more so like just helping other content creators take their content to the next level because I've learned so much in the past that I want to be able to share that knowledge with everyone else as well. If I share their knowledge and they have trouble with that knowledge, then I help them out make the edits as well.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
if you don't mind me asking, what made you want to start Twitch? Like, what was the motivation behind, being a Twitch streamer?
Yeah. So when I was younger, I'd say like in high school is when I started playing on the PC a lot more, right? The main game being League of Legends. That was when League of Legends started to pick up a lot more steam. And one of the streamers that I really enjoyed watching was Doublelift. Not necessarily for like interesting and amazing content, but it was more so like it was just the idea of live streaming, playing the games, having an audience watch you as you do cool or even funny things as well. And every time I play with my friends, I would always say like funny things or wisecracks and make them laugh, right? Not necessarily intentionally, but I felt like, you know what, I could do this. I could do this live. And so I gave it a go. I think I was still in high school, if I'm not mistaken. It was a laptop stream, trying to set up OBS, trying to figure it all out. It wasn't working very well. Um, but then we gave it another chance, right? We gave it another go when the pandemic struck, right? Like many of us here, a lot of our true streaming career kind of blossomed when the pandemic hit. And since I had an ample amount of time to do so, that's when we kicked off. We streamed Amnesia. We sat there. We were very silent, and we streamed to one, maybe two viewers at a time. Sometimes, we all been there. We all been there. But once we started really going, that was when it started to become something I could have never imagined it to become today.
That's awesome. So, basically, what is the meaning behind NickyDLuffy? I know how some streamers, they have a meaning behind their name. So, I mean, what is NickyDLuffy? Like, what?
All right. So a little backstory. Some know this story, some don't know this story. But originally, I wasn't always NickyDLuffy. Once upon a time, my actual gamer tag and stream name was Nikachu. I'm Nick, Nikachu. I like Pokemon. Amazing name, right? But I wanted something that possibly stood out even more. And also, like Nikachu, I kept getting mistaken by another content creator or streamer that also used a very similar tag, right? So I loved One Piece, right? So all right, NickyDLuffy. But not only that, too, my League of Legends tag wasn't even that either. It was actually Nick's Cash and Carry. So from Nikachu, we became Nick's Cash and Carry, kind of like carrying, in gaming, essentially like you're carrying your team. But it was a homage towards my hometown in Jersey, where there was a specific grocery store that was like the last name of the grocery store owner and Cash and Carry. That was the grocery store. So those were the little connections there. But then this was when Valorant came out. I tried Valorant when it was in the alpha, and you needed a coder and everything. And then I got flamed so hard to the point where like, all right, I gotta change my name because I can't take it anymore.
Oh my god.
And thus blossomed the name NickyDLuffy. D-Luffy, if you don't know, from the One Piece manga or anime series, the protagonist in which Monkey D. Luffy, right, his D being the will of D, and I won't go a little bit too much detail into it. I'm essentially saying I like One Piece. And fun fact too, if you don't know, those are actually my initials. The NDL, those are my actual initials, so it worked out pretty well. Thanks.
That's awesome. All right. So, what advice would you give someone who wants to make a startup in the streaming industry? Like, what?
They want to like start streaming themselves.
Yes, exactly. Like, what advice would you give them?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely, it looks a lot easier than it actually is. Not to say what we do is hard per se, but there's a lot more that goes into it behind the scenes than a lot of people realize. It's not just hitting a button, playing games, and talking to an audience. That is simply like a grain of sand in the whole sea of streaming, right? It's so much more than people realize at times, and then when they jump into it, it sometimes can be overwhelming. And that's how a lot of streamers end up possibly not wanting to stream anymore, or they get stuck in that rut where they're streaming, they're gaming, they're sitting there, and then they're just like, y'all know, what I'm talking about. You've seen the streamers where they're game and then nothing's happening. You just want to take a peek, and it is an empty chat. It's not their fault, but they're not even narrating. They're not even like reacting to what's happening in the game. It's just gameplay. You might as well be watching a YouTube video of like 12-hour gameplay of so and so game. It's So I would definitely suggest, number one, watching multiple streamers, but not necessarily gaming streamers. Like I said, the streamer that I really like is Doublelift, but I wouldn't recommend people watch Doublelift if they want to stream themselves, because Doublelift is a professional gamer. Unless you yourself are a professional gamer, then I would watch streamers, Tim the Tatman, perfect example, or Luis right here. Right, perfect example. Luis also streams. Yeah. Or any other streamers too. We have Luis. I'm not Luis. We have Lou in chat as well. They play games, they talk, they're interactive, and even if chat is not always there, they're always reacting to what is happening. Be reactive. Be animated. Even if you don't have a camera, I definitely recommend. Or you can watch NickyDLuffy. Always react to what's happening as much as you can, and be very, very, not necessarily don't be yourself, but be more of yourself. Be like 150%. And if you can push it, be 200%. But we can't always do that. Maybe on the weekends, but 150% at the bare minimum, just to grab someone's attention, because you never know who's watching. You really don't.
Exactly. I mean, who knows? I mean, you could be like, doing something goofy in the game, and then you don't know somebody's watching, but then somebody randomly clips it, and you're like, when did this happen?
Exactly. You say that, and I remember, I think I believe the streamer's name is It's Lethal. It might be. He's like somewhere in our Twitter and Twitch circle. But I popped into his stream because he's in one of the Discord communities that we're in. And I pop in, and I kid you not, he's wearing like 7-8 hats. I just wanted to take a look to see who's live, and I pick random names, and I'm like filter through. All right, they're interesting. And I look at him. He's wearing 7-8 hats. He's putting on more hats. He's talking to his chat, and it's just captivating. Just no pun intended. Captivating, haha. But
they always say that people, like, when they stream and everything like that, there's always something unique about that streamer. Like,
of course.
There's always like something that makes them like, hey, this person does this, or that person does that. And that's what like is the different personalities that gather around on Twitch, which is amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Because there's so many streamers on Twitch, and even more so now after the pandemic, or I don't even know if I can say after the pandemic, but we won't go into that. But since 2020, there has been a plethora of streamers jumping into Twitch, jumping into YouTube, whatever platform you're on. So the numbers of like it's not in your favor. The numbers are not in your favor. So you have to figure out something for yourself to make you stand out from the crowd.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
So the next question that I have here for you is there a reason why you decide to help content creators with editing, like, videos, editing shorts? Like, what made you want to do that?
Yeah. So at first it started as like a means to be productive, because I found myself even outside of gaming, right? The
Mhm.
common ways to network in Twitch is to either be in other people's streams, talking with them, networking in Discords, or gaming with other people too, right? The more people you game with, or Discords you join, or talk with and stuff, in return, essentially, you gain these connections, right? And so I felt like I was networking a good amount, but I wanted to be productive with my time in learning an additional skill. That's something that I can apply to even outside of the specific industry, outside of live streaming, outside of content creation. I can even use this skill for friends and family. I can use it for possibly creating it into a career. And so when I started off, I offered free editing services for servers that I was in. And essentially what it was people would give me clips. I would take the clips and I would edit it into a similar way that I would edit my own clips. I tell people you are not able to essentially get, or you're not able essentially to get an edit the way that you want it. You can only edit something yourself because only you know what you want out of that clip. Only you know what kind of humor or content you want to put out there. However, I essentially offered a kind of like a general standard comedy sort of thing, typical stuff you see on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, the whole meme sound and stuff. So that's what I wanted to play around with, because I wanted to have those skills for myself.
Mhm.
And I realized the more that I did it, the more like the quicker that I got about it, and the more like people were giving me feedback, like, man, this is some pretty good stuff, and I was like, you know what? Why don't we just give this a shot? Let's just, we whipped up a website. We even like made like a whole business account and everything too to track revenue and whatnot. And it's been going pretty well. I'm fairly surprised of how much traction it's taken. And I'm happy with the progress. I really am. I'm excited to see what this year brings for me helping other content creators. And I know for sure, like, me being a content creator myself, I used to be in the position where I felt possibly the need to hire somebody, or not necessarily hire, but pay someone to help me out with stuff that I didn't know how to do. And so when I approach people and say like, what do I necessarily charge? Like, I always go in with a mindset of knowing that not everyone can pay for stuff, and that's something I 100% respect and understand. And I want to be able to offer very affordable and like reasonable services. And yeah, like to understand that people are here because they want to try to also make money when they can. And I want to be able to not harm that, but also offer them the tools to learn as well. Yeah.
All right. So we have a question here from Megami saying, what are your plans for the future? How do you plan to evolve your stream?
That's an excellent question. So currently, I've moved my streams from gaming and talking to primarily just talking and occasionally gaming on the side. More so like a just chatting kind of vibe. And I feel moving forward, we can start incorporating like possibly even the real world aspects, because I do have a GoPro that I'm meaning to hook up, and then there is a streamer by the name of Brandon the Great, spelled with an 8 at the end. He does IRL streaming, and he does it really, really well. He takes he's based in New York, and he takes on like a electric skateboard, and he just skates around. He
Oh,
skates around with his camera in New York, and he like tries new food and everything. And he's an amazing. I had the pleasure also, finally meeting him IRL at TwitchCon actually as too, and it was awesome. He has a whole rig set up and everything. So I kind of want to not necessarily become an IRL streamer, but I want to incorporate more IRL aspects in terms of taking you guys around. Let's say if we go to Disneyland, I do like a The wifey signs off. I do a solo trip to Disneyland, and I'll take chat to Disneyland. We're all going together, and taking pictures with Mickey.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So what I was gonna say is you I'm guessing you like to travel a lot, right? So what is one place that you think like you would actually like to go, like that basically like one number one in your list.
Mm. So I've traveled a fair amount within the United States for sure, but outside of the US, I haven't been to too many places. Aside from, I've been to China, I've been to Taiwan, I've been to Hong Kong, the Asian countries, Korea, even Japan in a layover. But I want to be able to go to Europe areas. Like I've never been to Europe, I've never been anywhere around the area. But I think the first stop for sure, I think it might either be Australia or New Zealand.
Ooh.
Two reasons being, Australia, I actually have a couple of friends in Australia, and they're always telling us to visit, and perfect time too. Once the baby is set to travel, we definitely want to try to go. And New Zealand being so we have some family, our extended family, out in New Zealand as well, and just we always hear beautiful stories about New Zealand, how beautiful it is, and how like just the scenery, the food, and everything. Even just the butter. I heard New Zealand butter it's the butter to delete all rest of the world's butter. It's the butter. That's why I want to go to New Zealand too.
So here's the follow-up question about Australia, since you mentioned
Yeah,
Australia.
yeah.
So you don't plan on actually getting on the kangaroo's pouch, right?
No, no, I don't think so. I don't think they'd like that. I've seen some vicious some vicious kangaroo clips where they really really beat up the person recording or something, or like they seem like they mean business.
Hmm. Damn. All right. So I noticed also that what was it? You oh yeah, you started on your own website, I believe, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, that took me a little bit to get used to because I had no means or no way to really do website building because I have no background in coding or whatnot. So aside from doing stuff on Discord, but I essentially went through a website called Wix, and it's pretty popular and it's recommended from my sister. It is super simple, super easy to go through. I highly recommend if anybody else is thinking of the idea to create a website for whatever you need to do. The website builders just take it ease out. Like it helps so much. And the way you do it is you go through the steps and then you publish it. And then yeah, they have so many things that you can track the progress, how many people, how many clicks and whatnot. And it's I'm really happy with my choice of going through there. And having it too just makes it feel so much more real, so much more professional.
Hmm. All right. So another question that I have is, I know you play games and everything like that, but do you by any chance remember the first game you ever played as a
Oh yeah.
kid?
Yeah. So as a kid, the first game that I ever played on a computer, and it was a bulky computer, mind you. I don't remember what it was specifically, but all I remember it was a big boy. It was Bomberman, actually.
Really?
I don't remember the specific name of Bomberman, but that was the first game I played on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
We would all be on the keyboard, all four of us, right? The number pad would be one controls, the arrows would be another one. There
Mm-hmm.
would be like I think it was like IJKL is one control and WASD is the fourth player. So all four of us, me and my siblings, would just be on the keyboard playing Bomberman all together, trying to like shove each other in. And there's a specific memory that I had where I remember we were playing Bomberman. I wouldn't trash talk intentionally because I was fairly young at the time, but I remembered that was when I learned trash talking because like I did something, I said something, and my sister made a remark saying like, "Oh, nice trash talk," and I was like, "What is trash talk?" Like I just imagined garbage can and talking.
Mm-hmm.
I it was pretty funny, but since then, my main game afterwards, when I got a little bit older, let's say like even I think third grade, if I'm not mistaken, it was Maple Story. When Maple Story was in the beta still, my brother was playing mostly, but I would play along the side as well. I'd make my own character. So Maple Story would be my like the longer term, bigger main game, that introduced me into the world of PC gaming.
That's interesting. So, what is the ultimate goal for Nicky D this year for 2023? Like, what is like one thing that you hope to achieve with streaming?
Oh, well, I mean, that was a pretty easy uh question for me to answer because even though it might be a little bit out there, even though I feel I have a long way to go in order to achieve this goal, my ultimate goal, like the most ultimate goal for myself, for Nicky D, for streaming by the end of 2023 would be to achieve or being a Twitch partner. So I would have to, hit all the check marks. I'd have to really go all out on all my other socials too. It is definitely no small feat, but I feel, we're making progress. We're stepping in the right directions. We just have to keep on stepping, keep on moving forward. That is the way.
I mean, they say like, when you sacrifice like, the good things in life, you basically like, achieve greater things at the end of the day.
That is true, and it is for sure going to take a little bit more time and a little bit more. Definitely, sacrifice is a good word, I'd say, because if you look at the whole scheme of things, right, you can't necessarily, well, you could possibly give your whole life, but in reality, a lot of us, and if not all of us, have our real life situations to deal with, right? There needs to be a balance. There has to be a way to both achieve what you want to do and maintain balance in your life to be able to um obtain your goals in a healthy manner, right? I would say that is key, and a healthy manner is always a good way to do it.
Hmm. That's good. That's actually good advice. So,
Uh,
I was gonna say, do you plan on actually only streaming on Twitch, or do you plan like of uploading like your videos to like YouTube and different platforms as well, or do you plan on
yeah, so
streaming on other platforms?
yeah, I've flirted with the idea of multi-streaming. I do know that you are able to do it with TikTok. So I think the only other place that I can consider about multi-streaming or stream on another platform would be to stream on TikTok as well.
Hmm.
YouTube I've also thought about, but I think mainly for post like YouTube, I would just primarily use shorts, and you actually can monetize off shorts now, which is something new that YouTube I believe has just implemented. It's going to be very interesting to see where that goes.
All right, so we got another question here from Megami. She says, currently your streams are an hour and a half. Do you plan on expanding how much how much you stream as things go on?
Yeah, so I would say I kind of need to a little bit because especially with my ultimate goal of hitting partner, right? There's the a length criteria. And I do think that I will be able to stream a little bit longer. We may be reframing the time in our schedule how we're streaming. Originally I usually stream in the afternoons. But now so I think I might be changing to a little bit later in the day, mainly because, with everything I have going on in life, it is a little bit ever changing at the current stage. And so I feel now at the stage that we currently are at, we are able to do a little bit later streams. It's kind of how we usually did it in the past.
Mhm.
And so since we're later now, we don't necessarily have a set stop time. I don't necessarily have to do something afterwards. Afterwards, it's just post stream vibes, get ready for bed, and sleep. So in terms of the length, currently it's about an hour and a half, at most days. I would say we could even start seeing some 2 hour, 2.5. I don't think I'd go beyond three, to be honest. In the past, it would really depend on the game that I was playing, and sometimes, let's say if we're playing like League of Legends or even like Fortnite, even sometimes you have that grind mentality of wanting to get the victory, or even if you get the victory, you get that victory high, wanting to play another game, want to keep you wanting to play another game. But this kind of goes a little bit back towards um streaming being not just playing the game and talking to chat and leaving it on. It's more so having the mental capacity to both maintain a entertaining personality, I guess, at the time, or entertaining persona while on stream. I don't know. I don't think persona is the correct word that I'm looking for. But anyways, keeping upbeats, keeping entertaining, still being entertaining while maintaining that long stream length. So I think 3 hours is a good sweet spot. Anything longer, unless you normally do it, it becomes both mentally and physically taxing
Mhm.
because you're doing more than gaming. Your mind is kind of split, I would say, like between 60 and 40% between monitoring chat, playing the game, and make sure you're smiling for the camera, you know?
Absolutely.
It's a lot more work than just playing games.
That's the main reason why mental health takes a big issue when it comes to
Mhm.
like, streaming, because I mean some people really overdo their streams. Like they stream like, what, 8 hours, 10 hours,
Oh,
and
yeah,
and
yeah.
they get mentally exhausted. And that's why it's always good to have a schedule set out for streaming, a schedule set out for to do your IRL things, and then you have a schedule to like, network and connect with other streamers. So that way
Very true.
so,
Yeah.
so that way, like, you don't actually overexhaust yourself, and you're like, okay, well, I know I'm doing this at this time, I know I'm doing that at this time. So it's always like you said, a balance is always a good thing to have.
Yeah, yeah, and some people are able to kind of play around with that scale to balance it. I've known streamers that every time they stream for 12 hours minimum,
Mhm.
15 hours, but they're entertaining about it. Like they're powerhouses for sure because they're able to play their game, maintain chat, entertain, and it's not like they're streaming for 12 hours to like two, three people. They're streaming to like a good audience, good amount audience, and they're online, they're active. You can see that they're still like in it. They're not like fading away slowly or becoming a leaf and it's kind of crazy. It's kind of
Mhm.
crazy for sure. Yeah, I see that question, Lou. That's I'm sorry.
Uh,
That's not a question, it's a response.
no, 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 that was just a response.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
So, also, like, there's a big announcement that, I mean, it's still rumors, but I mean, how cool is it that United States might actually have a TwitchCon in a different state from California? How do you feel about that?
Oh yeah. So I've heard in the past it for sure usually stayed in San Diego. Them venturing outside of it kind of puts me makes me a little nervous and a little excited. A little nervous being I have no idea how that crowd is going to do in Las Vegas because I mean I've never attended a convention in Vegas to be honest, so I wouldn't know. But they do hold like CES, right, with the big tech conference or and
Hmm.
whatnot there. They hold a bunch of things there, so I don't see it being an issue.
Hmm.
But at least, we both attended TwitchCon of this past, and it wasn't necessarily bad. I did have a good time, but there was a lot of bad press around it for
Yeah.
sure. It
But
was,
the fact that
you know,
we were like this close to actually
oh
meeting each
yeah,
other,
yeah.
like, it's just like the timing. That's what really got me. And definitely this year, like, it'd be great to actually finally meet in person. Go have
Oh
like,
yeah.
lunch or different things, especially if it's in Vegas. Oh man, get ready.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna be hitting the buffets pretty hard, I'd say.
All right. So, another question that I have here for you is like, if you could actually like live off Twitch, like let's say
Hmm,
like,
hmm.
you basically like, get partnership like you said this year and everything like that.
Yeah, yeah.
You think it would actually get to your head, or will you still be the same Nicky D that we always love every time?
That's a good question. The power does kind of overwhelm sometimes for sure, but I'd say if I were to go there, I'm going in a mindset in which I don't want to compromise to get there. If you follow my drift, I don't want to, even though there are specific ways you can go about obtaining Twitch partner, but it might not necessarily be what I'm doing now, right? So if I feel like I can create a community in which they or build the community, because we already have the community. If we continue to build the community in the way that we are now, I'd say it I don't think I'd lose myself. I think if anything, it'd just be myself times 10. I just be a little bit louder, that's all.
Hmm. Well, I mean,
Um,
if you were to like, lose yourself and everything, I'll make sure to like just shake you up and be like, wake
yeah,
up, Nicky,
just
wake up, wake up.
give me a couple slaps and I'll be good to go.
You'll be like, okay, I'm back to earth now. Uh,
Yeah.
See, that's one thing I actually learned from my parents. They always say, if you let your ego go off to the roof, you're basically gonna fail at life.
Yeah. Yeah.
because you're basically forgetting what your true core values are,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you have to actually value those things, because I mean those are the things that got you in the first place.
Oh, for
So
sure. For sure.
basically, like, if you let fame get to your head, you're basically gonna lose everything. I mean, you're basically gonna drown in like, completely, like, in like so many
Mm.
complications everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna lose yourself completely.
Perfect example is like if you see like Hollywood child stars, they grow up in Disney and they after Disney or after the childhood fame, what they become. Some turn out okay, some don't turn out okay. It can be dangerous, but at the end of the day, right? It's asking yourself one kind of key question in reflecting on what you do, and I'd say that question is to ask yourself, are you happy? Right? Are you content? Are you is this what you want to do? Like a lot of times in that question, a little bit it gets mixed where money equals happiness, right? And I mean money is required for almost anything and everything that we do nowadays. But after we obtain it and by the means of which we obtain it, right? Is it worth it at the end? And if the question is yes of what you're doing, then I feel like you're in a good spot. But if you reflect and you ask yourself, is this worth it? Am I throwing my arms and legs and my whole body, putting everything in that I got just to make this money, just to be able to get by, or just to be able to achieve this semblance of happiness, just to let it fade away and jump right back into the grind? Is that the life that I want to live? That's I feel like it's very important to reflect once in a while in anything we do, not only for Twitch streaming, not only for content creation, just in life in general.
Okay. All right. So we're actually have a question here from Megami again. She says,
Yeah,
TwitchCon is coming to Vegas. Are you going? Maybe live streaming it?
yeah. So current plan is I do want to go, and if I am able to, then for sure I'm 100% going. At the moment, I am not able to 100% confirm if I'm going or not. There is a possibility I may be going out of states or even out of country during that time, outside of Vegas, that is. And if so, my adventures for sure will be documented. So, regardless of which, live streaming possibly if we get the rig set up by that time, which is there's a pretty long time between that. But
Wait,
at the sorry, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what are you gonna call it? Adventures of Nicky D?
I suppose, yeah. We're essentially, in our personal Discord, we have the theme of being on the Thousand Sunny. We're all on a ship, so I think I might go something along those lines. Something
Or
about we're all on a ship, we're going on an adventure. And,
the
yeah,
misadventures of NickyDLuffy?
yeah, yeah, something like that sounds pretty catchy. Name TBD, but definitely it'll float around that idea.
Awesome. All right. So I'm gonna actually start getting to the session where we actually ask you like the what the questions.
Hmm.
All right. So if you're ready for these, I have them ready here for you.
I'm ready.
All right. So question number 1 for Nicky D. Do you like pineapples on pizza?
So I ordered pineapples on pizza only to throw away pineapples on pizza. So no, I do not.
You did not like lamb. Okay. So
I
you're
don't
so
like
you're like me
pineapples.
then.
Yeah,
Okay, that's good.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You're like
yeah.
me. It's all about like, meat lovers, pepperoni. Oof.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man.
More even like the
Even
margherita pizza, like the classic kind of pizzas. But no pineapples on pizza. Not that I don't like pineapples, right? And I'll have pineapples, as a fruit. I'll have pineapples even in a salad too. And if it's truly on the pizzas and put in front of me, and that's the only pizza that there is, I'll take a couple bites. I'll be honest.
even
But
even some people actually grill pineapples. Can you believe that?
yeah, no, that I've had as well. That I can see. But pineapple on pizza. We're talking about pizza here.
No, no,
I
no,
don't
no,
think you
no,
need
no,
to.
no,
Yeah.
no, no,
There
nope.
are so many other options you can choose. Save the pineapple for after you finish your pizza, maybe as like a dessert or something.
Or what's the best way?
Yeah.
Grab the pineapples and just throw them in the trash.
And throw them in the trash. Oh
Just throw them
man.
out, please. They do not belong in pizza. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know, I agree.
For those of you listeners that love pineapples on pizza, you guys are weird individuals. Okay, that does not belong in pizza.
Oh man.
All right. So, second question that I have for you today is: if you could have any superpower out there, what would it be? I.
This is an extremely hard question because I feel like my answer always changes over time. But if I could have any superpower, I do believe it would be teleportation. The ability to like teleport anywhere you want on whim, but definitely controlled teleportation. I want to make that clarification because if I have spontaneous teleportation or something like that, I feel like that'd be very awkward. Like I'm just sitting here and all of a sudden, poof, I'm in the middle of like, I don't know, the Supreme Court while they're debating something. I'm like so I would say controlled teleportation would be definitely a skill, an ability, a superpower to have.
Instant
Uh,
transmission, like they're saying.
instant transmission. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine that? Like, okay, Nicky D, I'm gonna go visit you real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. We just let's get some lunch. Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question I have for you here is: would you prefer to fight one bear-sized goose? Okay,
Uh, one
think of
bear
that.
yeah.
Just picture one giant bear-sized goose,
Uh-huh.
or 100 goose-sized bears.
100 goose-sized bears. I think I might choose the bear-sized goose because I mean just the sheer numbers of those tiny bears that I feel like that would overwhelm me. I feel like I had better chance of fighting the bear-sized goose, even though, mind you, like geese, they're vicious.
Oh, they're vicious.
They'll mess you up for sure.
Mhm.
So that would be a fight that I don't know if I would survive, but I 100% know I wouldn't survive the 100 mini bears for sure.
Well, here's a true fact. Did you
Yeah.
know that if you actually grab a green laser pointer and you point it at the geese's feet, they
Uh-huh.
actually get scared and run away?
A green laser pointer. Are they just afraid of the color green,
Uh,
perhaps?
I'm not sure, but I mean, one of my devoted listeners a while back and
Uh-huh.
previous co-host, she told me like, did you know that pointing a green laser pointer at geese at their feet, they literally run off. They take off.
That's interesting. Maybe that'll be my way to defend myself. I just need either a green laser or perhaps I'll just dress in a full green like suit, a green onesie, lime green onesie, and just charge, like run straight at the bear. Just not the geese actually, the bear sized geese.
Absolutely. All right. So Chax here has a question. He says, "What's the most ridiculous fact you know?"
Hmm. The most ridiculous fact that I know. Um, like I don't know if it's ridiculous, but I guess I do know that I don't actually now I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. But something in Hawaii, either the state fish or the capital or I don't know which it is. I might get ridiculed for this, but I do know that it whatever it is pronounced the humu humu nuku nuku apua'a is the something in Hawaii. I don't even know what it is specifically.
That's somewhere I would like to go. I would like to go Hawaii.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, another country that I have in mind is actually Greece. I want to
Oh
actually visit.
yeah.
I would love to see Athens, Greece.
Oh, for sure. Just sheer beauty of it all too, and mainly for sure. You say Greece, and instantly I think of the food. I just delicious food there.
Speaking of food, we got a question here from Jack saying, if all the states in the United States were represented by food, what food would each state be represented by?
Hmm. I feel like I can do maybe the ones that I've been to. So California, I would say definitely avocados.
Avocados. Ooh, avocados.
Yeah, I would say avocados because I feel like even though avocados has kind of been more popular nowadays, but when I ask somebody who is not in California, have they ever had avocado toast or do they even eat avocados? It doesn't really, it's not as popular as it is here. I
Me
feel like
and
avocados are everywhere here.
me and you both. I mean, whenever I'm actually at work and I try to get some jasmine rice from my plate, and I tell them like,
Yeah.
hey, can I have some avocado? They're like, you put avocado in your rice? I'm like, yeah. I mean, that's a.
Yeah, no,
They
it's so good. Yeah.
just look at you weird. All right.
I know, I know.
All right.
um,
So I
yeah,
have another question here for you.
mm,
Do you eat cereal?
I do on occasion.
Okay. So if you do you pour the cereal first, then the milk, or do you put the milk first and then the cereal?
I pour the I pour the cereal in and then I pour the milk. Yeah.
Okay. Well, did you know that me personally, Louis IPA, I
Uh-huh.
actually put the milk first and then the cereal.
The milk first and then the cereal.
Yeah.
But how do you know how much milk to pour? I feel like it just goes right because then you have the cereal just sitting on top and it doesn't sink, right? Sometimes it floats and I don't know. Your ratio just gets all messed up then, I feel. That's very interesting.
All right. Do you prefer Marvel or DC movies?
I would say I prefer Marvel. In the past, me and the wife, we've watched so much Marvel, like in like TV shows, movies, even to the point where now we ventured into like looking at the comics and whatnot. And it's just more so our cup of tea. And not even so like I know that one of the common comparisons is saying like Disney Marvel, right? It's a little bit more light and DC more dark, you know. But I don't know. It's just they have a specific recipe for the way that they make their shows and movies now. Even though this is sort of like kind of branching out of that comfort zone with their more recent TV shows, like with the Andor, even though that's not Marvel, that's Disney, but the people that who make it for Marvels and the shows and the movies that they put out. I think the last one was it wasn't Miss Marvel, it was something else. I can't put my finger on it, but even Miss Marvel itself too. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what they did, and
I'm a personal fan of the Doctor Strange movies.
oh yeah, yeah, those are
Those
very
are
cool.
really really. All
Yeah,
right. And the last question that I have for you here is, what games have you been playing recently?
yeah. So right now, I'm on like a Fortnite hitch for some reason. Just ever since I usually sometimes me and Luis we do like a community day sort of thing where we play Fortnite with open lobbies, and since then I've just been playing more Fortnite. Now this is like the first time I've been level 100 on Fortnite in quite a long time.
Really?
Yeah, I'm already broke the 100, man. My name's on fire, and
Woo!
yeah, so I've been playing a lot of Fortnite, but I've been meaning to start God of War one of these days or one of these nights and just kind of go through it. I've heard so many good things. So God of War is next on my list for sure, but Fortnite whenever I have some free time.
Also, I wanted to take the time to let all the listeners out there that Nicky D has recently reached over 1,000 followers on Twitch.
That's right. Yeah, I can't tell you how long I have been stuck at like 980, 970, and then like it was a very slow inch forward, but we did it naturally. We let it happen by itself, and when it finally reached that 1K mark, I was ecstatic. That was good, and like the best part about it too, it wasn't just me who was excited too. Like, so many people reached out, said congratulations,
Mhm.
the community too, they're talking in the chat and they're like, yeah, we did it, and, and it felt like we, as a collective,
It's awesome.
accomplished something crazy. It was really cool. It was
Because
really really cool.
at the end of the day, the Twitch community is all a team.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
it is. I mean, there's no like, I or anything like that. We all work together to achieve the same goals. And
hmm
that's what a lot of people don't realize, that it's not just about one person. It's about working together to make a better future.
yeah,
And I
yep,
always keep telling people that I'm like, don't think like about yourself. Focus on basically like, helping other people, building connections, building friendships, and you'll see that everything will work out in the end. But
yeah.
those people that do not listen to that, they basically like, they grow, yeah, organically, which is awesome too. But I mean, it's a lot tougher because I mean, you have to network and connect with other streamers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not necessarily unfortunate, but it's more so it's the name of the game because in any industry that you are in, right, whether it be content creation or not, even in life, right, whatever you do for work, you have to network. It's
Mhm.
it's it's important to, and that's the only way that you can grow in what you're doing. If you're at work and you talk with your coworkers,
And you
doesn't
build.
always have to be like, "Hey, do you have that document?" or "Hey, do you have that thing you have to do?" or whatnot. You can venture a little bit outwards and be like, "Hey, what you doing over the weekend?" Make connections, and when you ultimately or end up leaving that place or get promoted or change locations or change jobs, right? You still have that connection, and you always have to keep those connections.
That's awesome. All right. So, is there anybody out there that you would like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to shout out my mods first and foremost. We have two of my Twitch mods in chat here. We have Lou and Risa. Both of them, I appreciate you guys for coming out and asking questions and being here. Even outside of this, you guys have been both amazing, other like fellow content creators, and I cannot be where I am today without you guys. So for sure, I want to shout you guys out.
Let me give an applause right here.
Yeah, yeah. I want to. What else? I want to shout out the multiple communities that I'm in. First and foremost, my original old one for sure. We've changed multiple names in the past, but the Game Hub, we've still slowly standing on a few legs. But the Game Hub, we've gone through some big ups and downs, but definitely want to give them a shout out. Newer community, but definitely a community not to be slept on. Deadland, right? Deadland is a community in which I'd say it's a mix of content creators, gamers, and viewers alike, right? Coming together as kind of like a pseudo family, even. It's gone even past the point where people go in and link drop, right? You'll get that inevitably, but people actually go in there, they make genuine connections, and it's a little rare nowadays. A lot of the communities that you see now are just purely networking and advertising, but this one stands out. So I definitely give a check out to Deadland. You can find the links to these communities as well. I think they're plastered all over the panels and whatnot. This panel is here, but if you find my own personal Twitch, then you can go into my panels and you can find those communities.
Absolutely. Anything else?
I guess I gotta shout out the fam, right? I gotta shout out the wifey MVP, but give me the time to be able to do this. Gotta shout out the family, right? Just the IRL family, just them being supportive in my journey to do this and offering input when they can. And of course, shout out the baby, even though the baby's sleeping. But shout out to the baby for staying asleep this whole time,
That's
even though I'm
awesome.
talking kind of loud. So yeah.
Well, I personally want to give a shout out to all the listeners out there that have been listening all this time to the Reef Podcast. I personally want to give a shout out to you as well, Nicky D, for coming in and getting an interview today. I really enjoyed talking with you. It was
Yeah.
fantastic. And I cannot wait for the future. I mean, it's going to be a fun podcast. If you guys have not checked out the previous podcast videos, we have a link tree now. If you do exclamation point link tree, which I'm going to do just this second, you can actually check out all the socials for the Reef Podcast there. So shout out to the Reef community for always being amazing. Shout out to Vader's community, which is a really great community as well. And just basically there's so many people that I always thank because there's so many amazing discourse. I wanted to let everybody know that the next episode of the Reef Podcast will officially be on February 19th. We don't have a time frame yet, but I mean, keep on a lookout on the YouTube because we are gonna have an amazing trailer for it that our good editor here, Nicky D, will actually do for us. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Make sure you turn notifications on. And from now on, all the episodes of the Reef Podcast will be live on the Reef Podcast Twitch channel and later uploaded to iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube itself. So this has been LuisIpa. I'm signing off for now. Hope you guys have a wonderful week coming up. Be safe and have a good night.